Percentages of quantities. Let's look at some examples. We need to find 8% of $500. Now often when we're finding percentages, often to deal with money. Now 8% can be written as 8 over 100. And we're finding of $500. We're going to write that times 500 over 1. Right, rather than just leave that as 500, write that as a fraction, 500 over 1. Now we can see that the 500 has two zeros, and so does the 100 on the bottom. So those zeros in fact can cancel. So on the top, 8 times 5 is 40. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1, but because it's on the bottom, we can ignore it. So our answer there is 40. But don't forget we're dealing with dollars, so make sure we include the dollars symbol. Find 70% of 320 meters. So 70% is written as 70 over 100 of 320 meters. So we multiply by 320, again, put it over 1, it's a whole number. Now often with these we can cancel down the zeros. Let's see, we have a 0 there, and then another 0 down the bottom, they can cancel. Also, there's a 0 as part of the 70. And that other 0 down the bottom, they can cancel. So that simplifies things quite a lot. So on the top, 7 times 32, and that works out to be 224. On the bottom, 1 times 1 is 1, so we can ignore that again. So 224, make sure we're interested in the units, in this case meters. All right, make sure that you are aware of that. So we must write our meters in. Excellent. We need, in question 3, to find 13% of 5 kilometers. So 13% can be written as 13 over 100. Now the 5 kilometers, we can consider that as being 5,000 meters. 5,000 meters. So we're going to times it by 5,000 over 1. And one of the reasons we did that is because those zeros there on the top, 2 of them, can cancel out with those 2 zeros on the bottom. So on the top now, 13 times 50 works out to be 650. 1 times 1 on the bottom we can ignore. And what's our answer in? Is it in kilometers or meters? Now make sure we write it in meters because remember we changed the question. We changed our working to be done in meters. So our answer then is 650 meters. Terrific. Example 4. We need to find 5% of $256. Now we'll start again, 5% as 5 over 100. And the 256 we'll write as 256 on 1, so we're multiplying that. Now we have 2 zeros on the bottom there, but they're not cancelling with any other zeros. So what we're going to do in these type of questions when the zeros don't cancel is we're going to consider working in decimals. So let's have a look at it again. The 5 over 100 can be written as 0.05. Okay, you're probably fairly used to that now. 5% can be written as 0.05. And we're timesing by 256. Now, if you can recall when we work in decimals, we just look at the whole numbers, and we'll worry about the decimal place and the decimal point later. So we're going to write that down, 256 times 5, and work through that. And when we multiply that out, we get 1,280. Now then we look back at the question, so 1,280, put the dollar sign in, but we've left a little gap there. I wonder why. If you look at the question, we have 2 decimal places. So we must make sure that our answer also has the point placed such that then it also has 2 decimal places. Right, so don't forget that. When you're working with decimals, make sure that what you start with, how many decimal places you start with, it corresponds with your answer as well. Example 5, we're asked to find 67% of $23. So we'll start 67 on 100 and we times by 23 on 1. But I think you can see there's a couple of zeros there, but they're not going to cancel down with anything. So again, we'll work in decimals. So 67 over 100, 67% as a decimal, it's 0.67, and we're timesing by 23. So let's multiply that out. 67 times 23. We'll actually work through this one. It's a bit of long multiplication. You might not have done one of these for a while, so it's good practice. Here we go. We're starting with a 3. 3 times 7 is 21. So we put the 1 down and carry the 2. Then we have 3 times 6, which is 18, and then we add the 2, giving us 20. So we've multiplied through by 3, so let's cross that out, and we put a 0 in the units column. Because now when we're multiplying by that 2, it's really in the tens column, isn't it? We're really multiplying by 20. So let's go. Here we go. 2 times 7 is 14. So 4 down and carry the 1. Then we have 2 times 6, which is 12, and add the 1, making it 13. We then need to add those two numbers, so 1 and 0 is 1. 0 and 4 is 4. 2 and 3 gives 5, and we have 1 by itself. So the number there is 1541, but again, we have 2 decimal places there in the question. Make sure we put the point there such that it has 2 decimal places in the answer. Terrific. Well, that concludes the lesson. Good luck with your questions.